Hello everyone, welcome to Yura's Corner on the Supernatural Women International channel. Here we make videos about faith, pregnancy, motherhood and everything that concerns the wholesome woman. So if this is your first time of coming across our video, you are in the right place. Please make sure you subscribe, like our videos if you enjoy the content, and also share it with ladies in your life that you think may benefit from what we share on here. Alright, so the last video I made was about the parenting tips that I am borrowing or I will be borrowing from my mom on my motherhood journey, right? And today I'm making the opposite of that, right? So today I will be talking about parenting style, parenting tips, or things I think my mom did not do right. I will not be repeating it. I will not be carrying it on to the next generation. So if you're interested in hearing what my mom did not get right, please keep on watching. So the first thing I will not be borrowing from my mom is having a favorite child, number one, and making it known. Yes, so I know that this is something that a lot of us would relate with because it happens a lot in the Nigerian, household, the African household, and I'm not 100% certain if it's obtainable in, the Western countries and, other parts of the world. But please let me know where you're watching from and what actually, happens in the families. What was it like? Was there a favorite child in your house? Was it known? Did you feel like your mom loved another child more than you? Please let me know in the comment section. And yes, so this is not something I would love to take on because I don't think it's a good thing, firstly, and then secondly I think it's something that can foster sibling rivalry, right? There are certain types of insecurities that one may develop over time, especially when you feel like you are not your mom's favorite or you're not your dad's favorite, right? When parents have a favorite child and they make it known, or they make other siblings to know that this is like their preferred child, it's not a good thing. I cannot particularly explain the feeling right now because I don't have a second child yet, but I've spoken to a couple of my friends that have multiple children, and they do explain that yes, it's something that could happen. You have this love for your kids differently, and then of course, depending on how a particular child relates with you, how their personality, it's possible that a mother can have a lot more soft spots for a child, right? But that is not something that any mother or any parent should let the other kids know. So please let me know what your experience is like about this particular thing in the comment section. The next thing I will not be taking from my mom is using children as confidants. Yes, this is a very big topic on its own. I mean, growing up in our homes and having definitely its conflict between parents is something that is most likely unavoidable. But one thing that African mothers do very frequently, I mean, if you're taking the statistics, the rating is going to be very high amongst people that grew up to be confident to their mother, especially for first daughters. And I am a first child, also a first daughter, so you can imagine the relationship I have and had with my mom. And whenever there will be a fallout between herself and my dad, I would be the first point of contact. And I think I was exposed on too early to such information because, as a child growing up, hearing when they fall out, and you don't really get to hear when they make up, you see. So that could create some, impression in the child, and the child, grows up having a level of, resentment for their fathers. For me, it took a lot more intentional efforts for me to re-establish my relationship with my dad. Yes, so that is not something I want. I think I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to be using my kids, especially when they are growing up and they have not been able to process a lot of emotional things or things that go on in the home, I wouldn't be using my kids as my confidants, even if I have a conflict in my marriage. And I think you can all relate to this. Okay, so now the next thing I won't be taking on with from my mom rather is building her world around her children. Now this is very dear to me because I am really using my mom as a case study, in this whole conversation. Now, everybody would think that it's important to use your children, build a life around your children, because your children are like, the best friends and the people that you would have in your life all the days of your life, right? But the truth of the matter is that using your building your world around my mom was this kind of person that was not really a social butterfly, and so she does not really have friends, like that. So her children, her kids are her best friends, and she does not have those other relationships, that can make somebody to have a fuller life, and all that. And because of that, there's a lot of demand on the children to always be there for her, physically, emotionally, and all that. There are certain things that I want to believe that she goes through that I may not be the right person for her to confide in and have a conversation. I may not even have the best advice for her, right? But I feel like she needed to have had like a robust social life where she has good relationships with a lot of other people that would be able to be there for her in their own way, while her kids are also there for her in their own way. And I know this is like overflogging this, but it's very, very important as mothers of this generation to have a well-balanced life. These are part of the reasons why you see people get married and then their mothers are trying to still bring themselves into their kids' marriage, because they did not detach themselves from their children's life, right? And it gets to cause a lot of whole other issues which I wouldn't want to even be involved in. And so I'm very much interested in having a full life, while of course building my relationship with my children, but I will not build all my world around them. That's what I'm trying to say, and I hope it makes sense. The next thing I will not be taking from my mom definitely is religiosity over spirituality. And why I say this is because, coming from an Orthodox background, there seems to be a lot more emphasis on church, rather than God. I don't know if you can understand or relate to this. And by what I mean by this is, as our parents were a lot more interested in, you going to church, you not changing church, you everything church, and not a lot of the relationship. I would rather be a parent that is a lot more interested in the spiritual growth of my children, rather than trying to enforce a particular congregation, or of course I understand the place of continuity and the place of doctrinal grooming and all that. Those are all valid points, right? But what I am trying to say is that a lot of our parents raised us to be more religious than really being spiritual people. I may not be able to explain these points in detail, but I really hope that you get the gist. And then if you need more explanation, we can do that in the comment section. So please let me know what you think about this point. The next thing I will not be taking from my mom is focusing only on academics and not looking at the other skills of her children and finding a way to harness them. This is the point that I know that a lot of us will also be interested in. Some of us today are practicing in fields that were our original interest. A lot of us read courses in the universities that we shouldn't have wasted 4, 5 years, 7 years doing, because our parents were not particularly paying attention. And one thing I know that my mom did not really do was encouraging, other aspects of life, like skills, art. I remember the times that maybe my siblings would be drawing, and then they would want to, it's not drawing, like you need to read, you need to study math, you need to do this. While those are good, but those are not supposed to be the only thing that you encourage in your children. So I hoped and I wished that she had encouraged other skills that we all had growing up, because my siblings and I we displayed, a lot of other skills. I mean, my brother, for an example, he wanted to be a footballer, but you know how it is in African household where everything boils down to academics. That is not something I will be doing. I'm not borrowing that at all. And finally, of course, not making any investments in your children's future. What I mean by this is, I wish my mom, made a tiny little bit of investment for me. I wish I grew up to, get like a financial portfolio handed over to me to say, okay, you're going to start managing it from now, another, no matter how small. Don't get me wrong. I mean, she didn't do badly. Our parents did not do too badly, but these are things that we can take as learning cues and then improve on in our own lives, our parenting, life right now. So what I'm saying is that right now I'm making intentional efforts to learn about investments. I have also made investments for my son. He's not even up to 5 years old, but he has a portfolio already, and then it will just keep getting better and better, right? And I know that even when it comes to his own time, he may improve on it. And then, so this is something I will not be taking from my mom. I will do better as a mother when it comes to investing for my children, right from when they are small, and then teach them more as they grow up. So these are the things I can quickly call from the top of my head right now that I will not be borrowing from my mom. So what do you think? Do you relate with any of these points? Can you also let me know some things that you feel like your mom didn't do right and you won't be passing it on to your own children? I would really love to hear it from you. So thank you once again, and definitely I will see you in the next video. Bye.